Ladies and gentlemen, in life we are often faced with relationships, some that bring us joy and growth and others that seem to drag us into confusion and turmoil. But I want to remind you today of a powerful truth. God desires peace, purpose, and prosperity for each of us. His plans for our lives are filled with harmony, growth, and fulfillment. So when it comes to relationships, how do we know when God is saying this is not the one? Today I want to share with you 7 signs that God may be telling you it's time to step away. The first sign is the disruption of peace. When you find yourself constantly in a state of emotional turbulence, when peace becomes elusive and chaos takes its place, that is not from God. His will for your life is one of peace. He desires that you walk in peace, in harmony, and in joy. If someone constantly disturbs that peace through their words, their actions, or their presence, then it may be a sign that this relationship is not part of God's plan for you. God never leads us into confusion, anxiety, or unrest. If peace is not present, it's time to evaluate the relationship. Secondly, you may experience a lack of growth and purpose. Every relationship should challenge you to grow, to become better, and to move closer to fulfilling your divine purpose. But if you find yourself stagnant, if you feel as though this relationship is pulling you away from God's calling on your life, then something is wrong. God's design for us is that we continually grow in His image, that we walk in the fullness of the destiny He has for us. If someone is distracting you from that growth, if they're holding you back from your purpose, it's a clear sign that this relationship may not be aligned with His will. Thirdly, the presence of constant struggles and conflicts can be a sign that God is trying to get your attention. Now, don't mistake this for the occasional challenge we all face in relationships. Every relationship has its difficulties. There will be times of disagreement, misunderstandings, and conflict. But if the struggles are ongoing, unresolved, and leave you emotionally exhausted, it may be God's way of showing you that this relationship is not meant to be. He calls us to relationships of peace and understanding, not constant friction. If every conversation feels like a battle, it's a sign that the foundation of the relationship may not be built on God's love and wisdom. Finally, one of the clearest signs that God doesn't want you with someone is when your boundaries and values are being repeatedly disrespected. We are called to love one another, but that love should never come at the expense of our own self-respect, our values, or our faith. If someone continually ignores your boundaries, disregards your beliefs, or disrespects your values, that is a red flag. God never calls us to tolerate disrespect or compromise our integrity for the sake of a relationship. If they cannot honor the person God has created you to be, then it is time to walk away. These signs are not meant to be fear-based warnings, but are reminders that God has something far greater in store for you. He does not desire that you stay in a relationship that drains your peace, stifles your growth, causes constant conflict, or disrespects your boundaries. God's plan for you is one of prosperity, peace, and purpose, and He will always guide you to relationships that align with His will for your life. So, if you are in a relationship where these signs are present, I encourage you to take a step back and listen to the voice of God. Trust that He is guiding you, protecting you, and leading you toward the relationships that will help you fulfill your divine purpose. God has already prepared the right people for you, people who will lift you up, challenge you to grow, and help you become all that He created you to be. Peace is not just a luxury, it is a divine mandate. It is the foundation upon which every prosperous and fruitful life is built. God has designed us to live in peace, peace with ourselves, peace with others, and most importantly, peace with Him. When that peace is disrupted, it is not just a small inconvenience, it is a clear signal that something is out of alignment with God's plan for your life. If you are constantly living in turmoil, anxiety, and unrest, you are not walking in the fullness of God's peace, and you are missing out on the life He has intended for you. The disruption of peace is one of the clearest signs that something in your life is not as it should be. It is God's way of saying, pay attention. Something here is not right. Peace is an indicator of alignment. When you are in the center of God's will, when you are walking in the direction He has ordained for you, peace is a natural byproduct. But when you find that peace being constantly stolen through conflict, confusion, or frustration, it's time to ask yourself why. The enemy of your soul is aware of how powerful peace is. It is not just a feeling, it is a force that holds the power to stabilize, to renew, and to empower you to fulfill your God-given purpose. That's why the enemy works relentlessly to disrupt it. Disruption of peace is his tactic to pull you out of alignment, to distract you from your focus, and to throw you into confusion. Think about the times in your life when peace has been disrupted. Perhaps it was a relationship that constantly left you unsettled, or a situation that seemed to drain the joy right out of you. You can feel it. Your spirit becomes heavy, your thoughts scatter, and your emotions are in constant turmoil. This is not God's will for you. Jesus Himself said, my peace I give to you, not as the world gives do I give to you. John 14:27. The peace He gives is a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that holds you steady when the storm rages around you. But if you find that peace slipping away, if you are in a constant state of unease, it is an invitation from God to reassess your situation and ask, why am I allowing this disruption? When peace is disrupted, it is often because we are allowing things into our lives that were never meant to be there. Whether it's a toxic relationship, an unhealthy habit, or an environment that constantly breeds stress, we begin to compromise our peace by tolerating things that are out of alignment with God's best for us. The more we allow these disruptions to take root, the more we lose our sense of clarity and direction. Our thoughts become clouded and we lose sight of our purpose. That is when the enemy has the upper hand. He uses the loss of peace as a weapon to keep you from the life God has prepared for you. But here is the good news. God has equipped you with the power to restore peace. The Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God, Matthew 5:9. You are a peacemaker by design. That means you have the authority to speak peace into every situation. You don't have to wait for the world around you to change before you find peace. You can choose peace in the midst of chaos. You can choose peace even when others are stirring up conflict. You can choose peace when things are not going according to plan, knowing that peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of God in the midst of it. When peace is disrupted, it calls for action. It calls for you to pause, reflect, and ask God to reveal what is causing the disturbance. It calls for you to stop tolerating the things that are undermining your peace, whether it's unhealthy relationships, negative thoughts, or external circumstances. God will not leave you in turmoil. He is a God of restoration, a God of peace. But it's not just about restoring peace in your life, it's about guarding it. The Bible reminds us to guard our hearts with all diligence, for from it flow the issues of life, Proverbs 4:23. Peace is a precious gift and you must protect it. You must set boundaries around your peace, refusing to let anything or anyone steal it away from you. Don't let the distractions of life, the conflicts around you, or the voices of negativity drown out the peace that God has given you. When your peace is disrupted, it's an opportunity for growth. It's an invitation from God to go deeper, to realign, and to trust that He is your source of peace. It is not a signal to retreat in fear or confusion, but to press into Him even more. Let the disruption of peace be a reminder that God is your refuge and strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. Peace is not just the absence of conflict, but the presence of God in every circumstance. And as you walk through life, trusting in His guidance, you will find that peace is not a fleeting moment, it is your constant companion. It is the foundation upon which your life is built, the anchor that holds you steady through every storm. So when peace is disrupted, don't panic, don't give up. Recognize it as a divine signal to pause, realign, and pursue the peace that God has promised you. That peace is your inheritance, and nothing, no person, no situation, no circumstance has the power to take it away from you unless you allow it. Step into the fullness of God's peace today and let it guide you toward the abundant life He has prepared for you. When we talk about a lack of growth and purpose in a relationship, we are not simply referring to the absence of progress or the occasional pause in life's journey. We are speaking about something much deeper and intentional and persistent stagnation that stifles your development, holds you back from reaching your full potential, and diverts you from the calling God has placed on your life. The purpose God has designed for you is not just a destination, but a journey of growth, learning, and evolving into the person He created you to be. Every day you should be getting closer to fulfilling that purpose, becoming more refined, more aligned with His will, and more deeply rooted in your destiny. When someone in your life is hindering that process, when they are distracting you from your path, or when the relationship is pulling you in the opposite direction of your calling, you are living in a place of unfulfilled potential. God's design for us is not to exist in a constant state of delay or to be caught in relationships that bring us backwards rather than pushing us forward. Every relationship should inspire us, challenge us, and lift us towards something greater. But if you are in a relationship that is more about maintaining the status quo, more about simply surviving each day rather than thriving and progressing, it's a clear signal that it is not in alignment with God's greater plan for you. You see, growth is an inevitable part of God's plan for your life. He didn't create you to stay stagnant, to stay in one place, or to remain confined by past mistakes and old patterns. He created you to evolve, to rise higher, and to continue to break new ground. If the person you are with does not support this growth, if they are not encouraging you to step into new opportunities, to face your challenges head on, and to take risks that will help you grow spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, then that relationship is a distraction from the true purpose you are meant to fulfill. When you are in the right relationship, it should feel like a partnership that adds value to both of your lives. The right person will not pull you away from your God-given mission. They will propel you forward. They will challenge you in the right ways, motivate you to achieve what you thought was impossible, and stand beside you as you pursue the very reason you were placed on this earth. This is the kind of relationship that God envisions for you, a relationship that adds strength to your calling, clarity to your vision, and purpose to your everyday actions. Constant struggles and conflicts. Life is filled with challenges, and relationships are no exception. Every relationship, whether with family, friends, or a partner, will face its share of struggles. There will be moments of disagreement, miscommunication, and moments where two people must navigate differing opinions of desires. This is a normal part of human connection. However, there is a distinct difference between the occasional struggle that strengthens a relationship and the constant unresolved conflicts that weaken it. When we are in a relationship that is meant to be, there is a natural ebb and flow, a rhythm where conflicts are resolved, where understanding is reached, and where love and respect anchor the relationship even in times of tension. But what happens when the struggles feel endless? What happens when it seems like every conversation ends in conflict, every attempt at resolution fails, and you leave feeling emotionally drained, misunderstood, or hurt? This is where we must examine the deeper truth. Constant struggles and conflicts are not signs of a healthy relationship, and they may be a sign that the relationship is not aligned with God's purpose for your life. God's plan for us is one of peace. He wants us to live in harmony with one another. In the book of Philippians, it is written, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves." God calls us to be peacemakers, not troublemakers. He desires for us to have relationships that are built on mutual understanding, where we can disagree without becoming enemies, and where we can face challenges without them becoming roadblocks. But when every day brings a new battle, when love feels like a tug of war and your energy is consumed by conflict, it is a sign that the relationship may not be fulfilling its true purpose. Now, I want to be clear that relationships take work. Growth does not come without friction, and every meaningful relationship will encounter moments where we must learn, compromise, and even sacrifice. But these moments of conflict are temporary. They do not define the entirety of the relationship. When there is a consistent pattern of unresolved issues, when it feels like no matter how much effort you put into solving problems, they keep resurfacing, that is when you must ask yourself, is this relationship truly aligned with God's purpose for my life? God's love is not meant to create division. His love, when present in a relationship, is meant to build unity, to foster understanding, and to create an environment where both individuals can thrive. If a relationship is constantly marked by strife, it can become a barrier to your spiritual, emotional, and personal growth. Constant conflict can prevent you from hearing God's voice clearly. It can cloud your judgment, weaken your resolve, and drain your energy. Instead of feeling motivated and empowered, you feel defeated and exhausted. This is not the life God has designed for you. In these moments of constant struggle, God is calling you to discern. He is asking you to evaluate whether this relationship is truly serving His purpose in your life. Relationships should be a source of encouragement, growth, and support, not a place of constant battle. If the struggles never seem to resolve, it may be a sign that God is protecting you from something, that He is trying to open your eyes to a deeper truth about your life and the people in it. The key here is not to be afraid of challenges, but to recognize when challenges become destructive. There are relationships that are meant to stretch us, to challenge us in ways that bring out the best in us. But there are also relationships that do nothing but bring out the worst, leaving us stuck in cycles of pain, bitterness, and division. God is not calling you to live in a place of perpetual conflict. He is calling you to peace, to joy, and to fulfillment in all your relationships. So when you find yourself in a relationship marked by constant struggle, remember that God has a better plan. He wants you to experience relationships that reflect His love, His grace, and His peace. A relationship where both people can disagree without attacking one another, where both people can grow together in love and respect, and where the challenges they face are opportunities to deepen their connection, not tear it apart. If constant conflict is draining your energy, clouding your judgment, or hindering your spiritual growth, take a step back and ask God for wisdom. Trust that He will guide you, and trust that He is leading you to relationships that align with His purpose for your life, relationships that will lift you up, challenge you to grow, and help you become everything He has created you to be. Let go of the constant struggle and step into the peace that only God can provide. When it comes to relationships, one of the most critical things to understand is that your boundaries and values are not negotiable. They are the very foundation upon which you stand, the things that define who you are and guide the decisions you make. They represent your self-respect, your beliefs, and the principles that align you with your divine purpose. When someone disrespects those boundaries, they are not just disrespecting you, they are disrespecting you. They are disrespecting the very essence of who God created you to be. God has uniquely crafted each one of us, instilling in us certain values, beliefs, and standards that are meant to protect and preserve our peace, joy, and purpose. Your boundaries are the guardrails that keep your heart and mind safe. They are not to be seen as barriers to love or connection. Rather, they are the protective measures that ensure you are treated with the respect and dignity you deserve. When someone crosses those boundaries, whether emotionally, physically, or spiritually, they are not just challenging your limits, they are attempting to reshape the very identity that God has given you. We live in a world that often encourages compromise, that pushes the idea that in order to have relationships, we must constantly bend and break our principles. But this is a lie. True love, real connection, and genuine relationships are not built on compromise or manipulation. They are built on mutual respect, understanding, and honor. When someone disregards your boundaries, it shows that they do not value you for who you are, but rather for what they can take or manipulate from you. This is not the kind of love that God has called us to experience. His love is a love that honors, protects, and cherishes. And when you allow someone to disrespect your boundaries, you are not walking in the fullness of that divine love. One of the key ways we dishonor ourselves is by allowing others to trample on the things we hold dear, the things that make us who we are. It could be something as simple as your need for personal space, the way you value honesty, or your commitment to staying true to your faith. When someone continually disrespects these areas of your life, it's not just about a difference of opinion or a misunderstanding. It's a direct violation of your integrity, your identity, and your relationship with God. You have to remember that your values are sacred. They are not flexible just because someone else wants them to be. God did not design you to conform to the whims of others. He designed you with purpose, with standards, and with the capacity to honor your own heart. When you allow someone to disrespect your boundaries and values, you are stepping away from the person God has called you to be and allowing someone else to define you. No one has the right to impose their will on your spirit, your body, or your heart. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, and God has given you the power and the authority to stand firm in your beliefs and in your values. The power in respecting your boundaries lies in the strength and clarity it provides in your relationships. When you honor your own values, you teach others how to honor you as well. Respect is not something that should be earned through manipulation or by meeting someone else's expectations. It is a basic human right. When someone shows consistent disregard for the things that matter most to you, it's a sign that the relationship is not one that is meant to build you up. Relationships that truly honor you will respect the boundaries you set, because they understand the sanctity of those boundaries in nurturing a healthy, loving connection. But here's the truth: respect starts with you. You must first respect your own boundaries before you can expect anyone else to. You have to be willing to draw a line and stand firm in your convictions. This means not tolerating disrespect, not compromising your values, and not allowing anyone to diminish your worth. Your life, your heart, your spirit are worth so much more than being treated as less than what God has destined for you. Don't allow someone to make you feel guilty for standing firm in your values. When you walk in your purpose, when you protect your heart, and when you hold fast to what God has placed in you, you align yourself with His will. And that is the only standard that matters. If someone truly loves you, they will respect you. They will honor your boundaries because they will see them as an expression of your worth and dignity. Anyone who does not respect the person you are, who tries to manipulate you, disregard your beliefs, or push you to compromise on your principles, is not the right person for you. God's will for you is not to be treated as less than what you are, but to be valued, protected, and loved in a way that reflects His divine love for you. Keep your standards high and your heart guarded, for the person who is truly meant to be by your side will cherish and uphold your boundaries as sacred. Ladies and gentlemen, when you stand firm in your boundaries and values, you are not only protecting yourself, but you are also honoring the divine design that God has placed within you. Your boundaries are a reflection of your self-worth, your identity in Christ, and the love that God has called you to experience. When you allow others to disrespect those boundaries, you are allowing them to diminish the very essence of who you are. It is time to take a stand, not just for the relationships around you, but for yourself. Know your worth, embrace your values, stand firm in what God has placed in your heart, and do not allow anyone to compromise what He has called sacred. Your identity, your peace, and your future are too precious to be dictated by the whims of others. Trust in the strength God has given you to set boundaries that honor His will for your life. Remember, when you respect yourself and protect your values, you invite the right people into your life, those who will honor you, uplift you, and walk alongside you in your journey. Stay rooted in your purpose, stay firm in your convictions, and trust that God has great things in store for you. Stand strong, for you are worthy of the love and respect that reflects the greatness He has placed in you. Thank you